That's not what I meant to do.
Whoops.
I don't want to do that.
Okay. Our hybrid model of our age-friendly Millinocket meeting, so we'll get started. Welcome, everybody. I know we have people on Zoom and we have people in the room. And so we have some new people that are around our table, literally and figuratively. I think not literally, but figuratively up on the screen. So I do want to do introductions. And maybe I'll just call on people, go around the room and tell us what hat you're wearing today at our meeting. I'm going to start on the screen. Louis, I see you first. You hear us? I'm just doing introductions. All right. We'll come back to you. Barbara, can you hear us?
Yes, hi, I'm Barbara. I'm one of the AmeriCorps members along with Sarah Gendro, working out of the library.
Very good. Thank you, Barbara. Shelley?
Hi there, I'm Shelley Blaisdell. I'm working with Mobilize Katahdin, which is a program through the Millinocket Memorial Library, offering resources to folks in the Katahdin region.
Good. Hey, Eric.
Hi, my name's Eric Goodwin. I work for the Katahdin Tourism Partnership here today to talk about the byway and the plaza.
Hi, Celeste.
Hi, Celeste Bard, Arcadia Design Works, an architecture firm with community development interest in the Millinocket region and an office in Millinocket. Thank you.
Thanks, Celeste. Amber?
Amber Wheaton, the Community Initiatives Director for the town of Millinocket.
Thank you, Amber. I'm going to try you, Louis, one more time before I go around the room here. Can you hear us?
Sounds like you're in a tin can. You call on me?
I did. We're just doing introductions.
Yeah. Louis Pelletier, I'm a town councilor, member of the committee.
Very good. Thank you. Brittany?
Brittany Gruder, the grants coordinator, working with Jane at Thrive Penobscot.
I'm Malcolm, I'm fire chief, public health officer. I'm Millinocket.
Nicole Brennan, I'm the partnerships and programs coordinator here at Memorial Library. And I'm also involved with the friendly project here.
Kind of a mouthful, right?
Yes.
I'm Sarah Gendro, AmeriCorps member working for age-friendly Millinocket and I'm part of the committee, project organizer.
I'm Robin Stevens, and my hat right now would be just committee member.
That's a park ranger.
Also back to park ranger this time of year.
I'm Diana Kurakawa, and I'm the director of the Millinocket Library.
Oh, I'm Peter Jameson. I'm the town manager here in Milwaukee.
And I think everybody knows me, Jane Danforth, director, project director for Thrive Penobscot, and also chair of our age-friendly committee here for the town. I did send out an agenda a week ago because it's posted on our town website. I brought just a few copies. I'm trying to do my best in reducing my paper consumption.
Are you helping with that transition?
Yeah, I'm trying to transition that, get to the digital world, so like bear with me. So yes, you can. So I wanted to just jump right in and talk about the age-friendly action plan because actually today should be some sort of celebration, right? It's completed and last Thursday the town council approved of it, and Diane is doing some tweaking to the just the formatting of it and finish that. So it's done now. Yeah, it's done. We can stick a fork in it. So Patricia, I was expecting that from me tomorrow or the next day. And so, but that means that we have work to do, right? I promised the council at the meeting it wasn't going to sit on the shelf. We're going to make sure we carry forward some of the, not some of it, some of all of it, but you know, different chunks of it. So that would actually take us right into community garden project. That's part of our action plan. And I will, you have one person in the waiting room. Let's do that. So I'll turn it over to Brittany and then we'll go to Sarah.
Yeah. Well, I also just want to say that we've talked about how we're going to record the progress of the action plan. So making sure that we're documenting what steps are actually being taken and keeping track of the timeline that we set up for ourselves. So I'll be creating an Excel sheet to kind of just take notes, probably in these committee meetings, where we are with each item, if we're getting to it, and all of that. So I'm not sure exactly how that will be formatted yet, but I'm sure it will exist in Google Sheets and be shareable. So yeah, community garden. I guess we haven't had a meeting since the Earth Day event. We had a very successful Earth Day event. There was a really great attendance from the community, helping put up the fencing, and we brought in some of the raised beds on that day, and yeah, just really great turnout. There's been a really great reception in the community of the project, and we actually are out of garden spaces at this point, looking at purchasing another raised bed because we have some more space in the garden so that we can add someone else who's already on the waiting list. So very exciting. There's all ages that are involved in the garden, including someone who's like 12 years old up to someone who's a caretaker for an elderly adult in the community. So really exciting, and looking forward to seeing just how that grows over the years.
That's great. Is there anything you need at this point to support it, or needs that people with the plots have?
We've had some people looking for donations of seedlings, but really people are just happy that all the resources are there already. No one's really, everyone's surprised that we are providing soil, or excited that like there's a water barrel and all the hoses are there and that kind of stuff. I guess I have been asked about if there would be access to any kind of tools. And I know that you said there's some kind of shed or some space here at the library where there's room.
Yeah.
So what information should I share with them about how to access that?
Yeah. Oh,
I'm sorry, no, I was just.
Yeah, can I just-
haven't had time.
Yeah, can I just check and see, is it any better? I don't think it's any better.
Yes, when you spoke, it was better, but everything is coming up muffled. It's just wasn't, I don't know if it's the speaker phone, but I'm just having trouble. It could be my speaker, like I said, but
I think it's the speaker here. It sometimes gets jostled and just is a little bit loose. I'm just trying to.
well, I can hear you, but I don't know if everyone will need to get closer to the speaker. I just don't know.
Oh,
It's using this
Yeah,
speaker is why.
It's the microphone. Microphone needs to be closer to the speaker.
Can I see that? It's,
USB audio.
yes, that's
That
what I
one.
want. How about now?
Let us
Okay.
try
Is that
again.
is that different? Is the audio better?
Yes.
Let's say yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Right.
Okay, good. Thank you for that troubleshooting. And yeah, I guess we don't have tons of tools here, but we have a space, this utility closet here at the library, and Sarah's gonna probably store tools that she's using for the raised beds there. And if there's someone with a specific need, feel free to refer them
Yeah, I
to
don't
Sarah. We can.
I was gonna say, I don't have tools of my own here yet. Didn't know if I thought we had tools that we were talking about.
Yeah, we have some
shovels.
shovels and rakes and things
Right.
like that if people wanted to borrow them.
I don't think we
So,
have any like hand tools.
No.
which
Yeah,
might
we
be
don't have
more
those small
like
ones,
practical
so,
for
yeah.
raised
Yeah.
Raised
beds.
beds, yeah.
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 They may want to get trowel or some such.
So we have a little bit of funding left if we needed to purchase something and then leave it in the
In the shed
shed
there.
over there.
I
Yeah.
know Tractor Supply, they're not very expensive and
Yeah.
they're pretty good
Yeah.
quality. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
How many plots fit in one of those raised beds? Are there more, is it one raised bed per renter, or is it?
Yeah, each bed is either a group or an individual. So the two bigger beds are, it's a group of people, and then the other one is two different households in one plot, but they're doing it together.
Sure.
And then the other ones that are a little bit smaller is just one household per plot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Very good.
So where are we putting next?
Yeah. There's a lot of discussion about that on the town Facebook page, about where it should have been, which
Yeah,
identifies potential places where another one could go, so.
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
It's great. It's good to receive that feedback after the fact,
Yeah.
in reaction as opposed to proactive conversation.
Well,
leading up to.
And that's what I thought we were putting it on the other side of the boat landing when we had
Yeah.
originally talked.
That was because our Katahdin was looking at providing the land, and then that ended up not being.
Oh,
Not
that's why.
wouldn't work
Okay.
out because they a Z issue or something. I don't
I
know.
do remember that
Yeah.
conversation.
Okay. Yeah.
And it worked out because then now it's closer to the electrical outlet, so. the
Yeah, and
pump
Gilda
that
can
we-
watch it better too there.
There you go, yeah. But the pump that we have has to be plugged in,
Yeah.
so until we, hopefully in the future, if we have other ones, then we can.
No, and I wasn't, I was just, I thought that that's what we had said.
So far, so good. And I know Brittany's been very responsive of anybody that's called or asked questions and what's next. And yeah,
It just looks so great when I've been down there, people just walking, stop, chatting about, what's going on and how do we get, to be a part of it. And so,
I think there was one question asked me, is there a gate going to go in there or not? It was decided not to, but that was just.
Yeah, we haven't gone forward with a gate. I think that's something that we can add later if we really need to. I think adding a gate at this point kind of. I think it would make it come across like we want to keep people out. I think keeping it open.
Like it's a barrier or
intentionally shows
something.
that like, this is open to the community, like come learn about what's going on here.
Yeah.
And I know that there then was question about like, well, animals can get in that way, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there like a deer problem down that way? I don't feel like there's
I don't
on
think
the edge of
that's-
town.
if the deer wanted to go in there, they would. They're right over it, I'm sure, but,
I think someone's in the waiting room. It looks like Louis in the waiting room.
Let's come back.
Thank you.
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So Sarah, so there's some education going on
Yes,
here at the
we,
library
I don't know
around.
I was gonna ask the town manager if we could hang, I've tried to connect to someone at town office, I've got to run down again, but I'd like to advertise if I could. Been going everywhere I can, I have it on the bulletin board down at the little pocket park, and hardware store, greenhouse. But we're having, our first educational offering from University of Maine Cooperative Extension horticulturalist Kate Garland. University of Maine Extension normally does a Master Gardener program, and they send someone to help educate into communities or even private gardeners. But because of COVID this year, they've not done that. But she was so excited about Millinocket's project that she said, "Oh, I just can't not be involved. So let me just come personally and I'll do it on my own time." So we're doing it on a Thursday, 4:00 in the afternoon, May 26th. And she said, come, even if you're not a gardener with a raised bed at your own home, or you want to do containers, bring your gardening questions. I can answer whatever, try to answer whatever questions you might have about gardening. So I'm really hopeful. I told Diana my biggest fear is like 4 people will show up, but I said, we've got more than that here, right? So could we all go? But I'm excited about the opportunity to just provide a little education around what it means to garden and what differs from in the ground beds as opposed to raised beds that are in a box or other container. There are some differences and things to be successful. So I'm seeing more and more boxes all around town, people driving by with them in trucks every day, it seems like I see. And so I know people are interested in it. Even my husband, who's a avid in the ground gardener for many years, all our lives, said, hey, these are pretty nice. I could stand up. I wouldn't have to be on my knees, So I think I could win him over. But so I'm just hopeful that it will provide some inspiration for people that think. I noticed on a Facebook page, one man said, oh, I'd love to have a garden, but I just can't do it anymore. And I just encouraged him to come to the informational session, and perhaps just even a couple of buckets would be someplace to start if you couldn't afford a raised box. And then he wrote back afterwards and said, my son just came over, you're not going to believe it. Some person lost 2 5-gallon buckets off the back of their truck from Lowe's, and they had tomato plants in them. And so I said, it's a sign, you better be gardening. So anyway, just kind of comical, but so we're excited about the first program. Brittany and I brainstormed some other ideas for ongoing things throughout the summer. And so I'd like to talk with Kate more about what offerings they have as far as canning, perhaps, with University of Maine Extension, using the produce that people do grow, effectively how to put it up for the winter. Those kinds of things I think will be helpful for people in the community. So we're working on those.
And the seed saving one. Do you wanna
Yes,
share about
so Diana and I had a meeting with a couple of representatives from Wabanaki Public Health. They're interested in having a couple of garden beds to kind of educate and bring people up to speed with what they're doing out there at the gathering place and make a model garden bed here in Millinocket in town. They want to do traditional Wabanaki signage to identify medicinal and native Maine plants. And people could harvest and take some home with them. So we have 2 4-foot beds here that I just had delivered today, as a matter of fact, that they will be utilizing. And I've asked them to help with maybe do a class on seed saving, because I think it's so important to save our seeds if we can. Like, say you're growing squash this year, how do I best save these seeds so that I can use them next fall to plant again? Talking about heirloom seeds and those kinds of things. And they said they would be happy to do that. So we'll have a class sometime late in the summer for that, when people are getting toward harvesting various things. So I think that's exciting. We're talking about doing just a seed, I won't say lending program, but a giveaway program with our card catalog. We're trying to encourage people, if you have extra seeds that you'd like to share, that we will organize them in the seed catalog and just have them to give out here at the library. If a person wants to garden and they don't have seeds, or Brittany mentioned people want seedlings, there shouldn't be a barrier if we can help it for someone growing their own food and being a little more self-sufficient. So that's a project we want to work on. So also doing a couple of beds myself here with in conjunction with story time for the kids, growing some tomatoes, perhaps some string beans and things that really grow a big harvest, so that it's pretty plentiful for people to just take some home. We really want to model what gardening looks like in a container and really inspire people to just try to do it for themselves at home. So excited about that. So
That's really great.
Fit to print,
I was just thinking about your partnership with Corporate Extension and when they're going to come here. Should we have some containers available and something so people can actually go home, plant something while they're here? Or would that be too heavy? Like, can you just, talked about having that bucket. I know there's some funding and I'm sure I could find some
That's
funding.
probably a great idea, Jen.
That might be able to put something out and might get more people here if they think that they can come plant something, take it home, or just, or something that wouldn't be too heavy probably.
Right.
Or we'll just have Tom in the fire station go deliver buckets of soil. Buckets of sand.
We're drinking sand when put.
Right. That's
Oh,
right. What grows in sand? Don't be big. No.
Yeah, but I mean, just something to think about,
That's a
maybe
good
more people here that you
You're
actually
smart.
go home with something, because
Yeah.
I would think that we would have fun. We could find funding for that.
You could do
You know,
lettuce,
those
and that's
smaller-
very fast growing.
Yeah, those smaller pots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know what they're called, but I've seen them like at grow centers. Yeah.
Anyway, just a
That's a
thought,
good
a way
idea.
to
Let me
expand on that and get
brainstorm
maybe
on
more
that.
participation.
Mhm.
So,
Definitely.
Is there even just send them home with a plant or something?
Right,
as a
right.
nice-
Well, now I wish I'd taken those seedlings that people offered here, because I said, oh, I've got quite a few people, and my husband's growing extra seedlings for tomatoes and so forth, but yeah, that would have been great. I could have take home my tomatoes.
We did that years ago. Remember that cooperative education came and it was trees, but
Right.
they had the little trees and
Yeah,
everybody took home a little tree.
hey, yeah, that's a great
Find
idea.
out.
Great idea.
You plug the class.
It was, no, it was in a little cup thing that the University of Maine gave them out.
Right.
I can't even think of her name now. She's long gone from there. But
Right. Oh, shoot. I see Susan, you have your hand up.
Hi, yes, that all sounds great. I was wondering if you had seen recently, there was a picture floating around of a seed library. The little stand that Randy Jackson put up by the Veterans Park for like a free library? Well, it was just like that, only it was for seeds.
Yep, I've seen that when in my research for what do you do with the seed catalog? Well, like a little seed library, like a little free library. And people do, some communities have done that in the community where they just have a little box up with flip top and, take some seeds, leave some seeds.
That's a really fun idea. And
Yeah.
at Katahdin Arts, with that hat on, we were actually talking about doing a little free art gallery because I've seen, those same boxes used for that purpose too. So I feel like there's something here that could be really a nice enriching thing to do.
Right, yeah, if you wanted someone to man that, but have this too, or.
Yeah. So all these events that we're talking about, I know we need our media plan around that. That was something we put in our action plan. How are we going to spread the word? So I
Right.
guess as soon as, and I know you have that poster created, we need to figure out how to push it out.
Yes.
In all our listservs and that sort of thing.
Right. I talked with Heather Hurley here at the library and did a little media plan just for this one event as part of one of my projects for AmeriCorps. And she's helping to push it forward on like the town Facebook page, the library's Facebook page, Instagram. I've talked with Ben Barr and he's done an article that should be out hopefully in the next edition. I don't know. Yeah, this one or the one immediately before. And so that will give us some information, but what do I need to do for you around that besides?
No, I just want us to be purposeful or
Mhm.
mindful, like to figure that out and that we spread it out. And I had somebody else recently tell me that people listen to the local radio station, so I don't want to discount sending PSA, whatever it
Right.
is that to the
Yeah.
local radio
I thought
station.
about that too.
Yeah.
Getting it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
share the flyer with me, so if we have somewhere to share it, I've shared it with all the gardeners at the community garden.
Okay.
So if there's somewhere else that we can put it out there, then we can do that.
So on the Thrive website, on the town website, on the town face, age friendly,
Right.
anything, any of our partners.
Sarah, forgive me,
Right.
you mentioned social media in that, but did you specify an event on, like an event page on Facebook?
I don't know if that's what Heather did. I think
I
it
feel
was,
pretty strongly that the event page that we created
Okay.
for our bike ped community meeting played a big part in how great a turnout we had.
okay,
It allows people to add it to their calendar and
good
kinda
idea.
keep it visible and set reminders, things like that.
Okay, good.
I
That's
think-
good to
I think
know.
that could be.
Because I was, had it listed on Facebook and then people were sharing, but yeah, probably not as savvy on that as I would probably need to be. So that's why I kind of enlisted Heather's expertise,
Yeah,
how-
we
how
can
we
turn it
best
into
do
an
that.
event and we can make the town a co-host
Mhm,
if you'd
mhm.
like. Or if that's
Definitely.
easier for sharing. I don't know.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
I think it helps keep it at the front of people's minds as it comes closer, you get a new notification.
Exactly,
We
yeah,
have an event today.
right, right.
Because people click on they're interested and then it comes, is that how it does,
Right.
keeps it
Mm.
And then
current
you
in
say
yours? Okay.
going or, yeah.
Yeah,
mhm,
okay.
mhm.
Very
Yeah.
good.
I guess I know about it, but it wasn't
Yep.
in the front of my mind. Thank you for
Good
that.
point.
Yep. Yeah, and I posted at the garden center, the greenhouse, hardware stores where people are going to buy plants, things like that. So.
Good.
um,
Any other comments about that particular? Okay. All right, so I'm going to move down to our agenda. I just wanted to share, the last time we were here, we talked about our pilot project with Penquist. And since we had our last meeting, I've presented it to the town council. I went to by Zoom. I attended the East Millinocket and the Medway Selectmen's meeting and shared the flyer. And just, I've got some pamphlets around Penquist transportation. So that's another thing I want to make sure that we get out there. It's been posted and I'll get some more of the pamphlets.
I know that some of the in care, the home care, the community groups have been sharing it internally through emails and things. I've definitely gotten some of those.
Very good.
Yes, so it's definitely, it's getting out there.
And I've been in touch with Tammy from Penquist so that we can just, she's going to be give me monthly updates on usage so we can just see how the program grows based on what we're providing them to pay for the fares for folks. So we'll continue to get that out. Were there any other questions about that? I will just say it's interesting because some people thought it was a brand new program through Penquist. It's not a brand new program. Both of them are programs that they've always run in the past. What's brand new is that is through Age Friendly Millinocket and through Thrive Penobscot, we're paying the fare. So it's free to anybody from Millinocket, East Millinocket, Medway, utilizing these services. They're not brand new services. It's what's already in place.
Right.
And
It
so-
just shows the power of localized media sharing.
So
Yeah, I had a couple of people mention to me, well, I thought it was just for people that, had main care or a certain demographic of eligibility, didn't realize,
yeah.
because I handed out a
Anybody,
couple of those.
it's anybody. I will say their general transportation flyer, because they have that schedule. There's certain days that they go to Lincoln, certain days they go to Bangor, or just about town. This is all scheduled. You just have to call and make your, reservation for your seat, so to speak. The other one they utilize the new Freedoms Grant funds. You have to have, they say, a self-declared health condition, disability, but it isn't anything that you have to prove like, oh, I'm on Social Security. You can just say you have trouble vision, sleeping, whatever you,
Not driving.
why you're not driving. Yeah, not comfortable drive, whatever it is, just so they have a health condition of some sort to write down, and then it covers the cost of it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Is everybody good with that update? All right. So I just sent out the community center survey results before we met today. So they're probably in your inbox. I made a couple copies. Again, I'm trying to cut down on paper copies around this. And so there you go, Mr. Manager. Yeah, I've got one more. I've got one more.
James, can I jump in for a
Yeah.
second? I see Randy had said need a community calendar page, and Barbara had, agreed with it. The homepage on the town's website is due to become a community calendar interactive page. Very soon we are to make the arrangements for that. If anyone wants an example of what that would look like and how it would work, if you visit the Lebanon Public Health and Wellness page, also administered by Design Lab. There is a big community calendar on that homepage, and what we developed is set to be very similar. The way you can access the information and the links on there to get where you need to go. So more to come on that.
Very good. Thank you, Peter. So I know folks on the screen, I know if you check your email, you have the community survey results. And we're not going to go through it like very comprehensively, just the summary. There's some bullet points at the front of the beginning of it. We know 165 community members took this survey. The most identified needs were a safe and secure community space for youth, support structures for youth outside of school, and other youth-based focused uses for community space. Top athletic related activities wanted by community members was an indoor walking area and group fitness class. We hear that all the time up at the fitness center. Lifestyle fitness, people want, structured classes, and we don't have space. The most wanted enrichment program service is a place for youth to meet and hang out with friends. This is interesting. Garden was the most wanted entertainment program or service. Look at that. And 82% of community members said they were likely or are very likely to use a community center located in Millinocket if we had one. So there was more males than females that took the survey, 82%. More female. I'm sorry, I said that backwards, females than males. Yeah. There is a mixture within the age group. It's pretty good. So I guess stay tuned for next steps on how we're going to use this survey data going forward. Certainly there are uses for it, like in grant applications, and I did share it with Kyle Leathers, and I will follow up with him because he has a youth group at the school that are actively pursuing, potential youth center for the community. That's something that they really want. So it's just sharing the information for now. Any feedback on that?
Lots of great information.
Mhm.
This is great.
Yeah. And let me just shout out to University of Maine Center on Aging for helping us with this survey. They helped us create the survey and compile the results and manage it. And so that again was part of our connections, our age-friendly connections throughout the state and at the University of Maine Center on Aging. So I want to go, we're into like our action items, and I know Bob on the screen joining by Zoom, one of her projects or AmeriCorps program was to potentially, establish a community market, farmers market. Let's have that discussion. So I'll turn it over to you, Barbara.
Okay, well, I'm totally thrilled that that's part of our action plan, and I know it will take a while to get it underway, but I agree with Jane that a good way to start is to form a core group to look at what had been done in the past, what lessons might have been learned, what could be applied to the future. And Susan D'Alessandro, who's on this call, is one of those people. And Susan Adams also is very enthusiastic about it. And she said she might be able to join today. I don't think she's here yet. Several other people. So I think it would be like a subgroup, a work group formed to really pin down the do's and don'ts. And some of the things I've heard already are, well, the items to talk about are location, frequency, partners, all kinds of things. But one mistake Susan D'Alessandro, I believe, mentioned was that previously they wanted to keep the cost really low, so they weren't asking the vendors for a membership fee. But without any buy-in, you can't predict who's going to be there. And you need vendors to show up in order for people to feel it's worth coming to the market. They have to know that there will be a minimal number of vendors. So I think the next steps would be to have some meeting with this core group, maybe a hybrid in-person and Zoom meeting, and really look at the past and see what really worked well, because apparently it was very popular down by the river. Just it faded away because someone moved away, not because it wasn't popular. But maybe look at exactly what other mistakes people made or what things they think should be done differently. And certainly we need bathroom facilities for the vendors. If it's going to be a 6-hour, let's say 8 to 2 event, I'm hoping, I don't know if it's possible to have a pilot project this summer. We could even have porta potties. I mean, there's a big parking lot in back of the town hall. That could be a site. Katahdin Tourism Partnership has said we might be able to use the Heritage Park till they landscape it. That would be perhaps the first place, but that's up for discussion. But Susan, I'm sorry, Jane, do you think it's possible to have a pilot project this summer where we could have a resource table, maybe have a survey with people's requests about the market, people's suggestions, just to get them excited about it? Do you think it'd be possible to have one, or is it too soon to do that, do you think?
I see Susan's hand up. Can I just defer to Susan first? Let me think about your question.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm just thinking that farmers are very busy people in the summertime, and they've already, most of them probably made their plans for this year. So it might be a trick to be able to get people to commit at this stage of the game for this year. There might be someone who would be willing to do it, but I think what we found also is that sometimes moving it around, people get too confused. So like if you're going to have it by Heritage Park this year and then next year it's going to be somewhere else, it kind of complicates things sometimes. But as far as trying to get people to come this year, it remains to be seen, but I think it might be too late.
Okay. Good feedback.
Brittany?
And I think, was your question more attracting vendors or getting the community members excited about actually having a farmer's market to show them that, you know?
Right, well, yeah, I think getting community members excited about it, and it's a community artisan market, not just produce, so we could have Katahdin Arts Center could have an exhibit, we have the new bakery there, Boreal, I'm sure would welcome people, the Gear Library is there, so it could be not necessarily very heavily produce at that point. I'm sure we could get a couple of tables of produce, but the main thing would be to have people like doing the survey for the community center, get their input about it and get them excited about it. And that would be, helpful for getting any grants in the future for it too.
If that's the case, then I think this could be piggybacked on to other events already happening in town, such as the July 4th.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
so having a table there that showcases, this is what we want to happen, what you want to see there when you come. So it could be, there could be the Trails End Festival, like any event that's happening that's community-wide that people are going out already.
Yep.
To see what's going on.
Yeah, piggybacking is a great idea.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'd be perfectly willing to to sit at a table for a few hours with resources and collect names of people, and would help us get people for the group who want to participate in the work involved as well. So yeah, I would very much like to have, if we could have just one, it could be a Saturday or a Sunday, but coordinated with some other things. I think that would be a goal I would love to accomplish for the summer. Yeah.
Celeste?
The town of Skowhegan has a really lovely farmer's market, and Skowhegan's a pretty small town, but it abuts their bakery, the parking lot next to their bakery, and there's like a little restaurant there, and it's really like it becomes a place to go. So if there were tables outside, I mean, I don't know how Randy would feel. People would probably end up using the bathrooms unless, I mean, I don't know how that would work, but it might actually help promote the bakery, even if it was only once, first Saturday of the month, or, just a couple of times, like you said, to bookend other events or whatever. I think it would get people into the bakery. It would sort of get people into the, Randy's building and I don't know if Skowhegan, you might even check with Skowhegan to see, kind of how they launched it. I mean, they do have the flour. It was probably from the grain mills that started it, but it's just an amazing little farmer's market that's really like a go-to place on Saturday mornings.
Yep. And Randy has already planned several tables he's had built as well. So yeah. Randy should definitely be part of the group.
Sorry to volunteer you, Randy, for your space.
Zucchini bread is wonderful.
Yeah, Zucchini Fest. So it sounds like, Barbara, we need to pinpoint like a couple of weekends, and especially over the 4th of July. I know there's a 3-day celebration. The events committee is working on that, so we can figure out how to target that, and then what that would look like, what a tabling event would look like. So I know, Eric, you have your hand up. I just soon have you go.
Yeah, sure. There's definitely a lot of things I'd love to talk with this committee about, but specific to the conversation, of course, I can speak for the KTP and say that the plaza is available for community use this year, and we'd love to see it used as much as possible while we move into the design phase. And it's also envisioned as a community park for things just like this. And we're certainly the design, the concept that came out, and the concept that remains to be the foundational concept today includes a setup for the whole plaza to hold a variety of events with booths, tables, power, knowing that people will need to drive their vehicles close to drop things off and have access to their vehicles, as well as access to bathrooms. And porta potties could be easily put in the plaza for events or something this summer. So that's definitely available. I guess a larger point is, if there's going to be significant support for a farmer's market moving forward, we'd love to hear any design input that you guys think the plaza could be maximized for events like yours. That's not a promise to include it. That is a promise to consider it diligently within the restrictions of our plaza design, considering carrying capacities and many other things. But we certainly want that input. It'll help us define the last details of the plaza. But I would encourage you can email me, Susan Adams, Randy Jackson, if you want to use the plaza this year. And any suggestions that you'd like me to include in our design elements for consideration for the plaza, I would not only be happy to entertain, but I'd be appreciative of that feedback. It would help us a great deal.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, so Eric, I know Barbara had emailed Susan, and Susan had a bunch of questions, and some of it was, there were some concerns about, trampling on the grass because you wanted to grow, and, things that were going on there, and some other policies or even liability, because that's not town land, and, who then covers the insurance. So there were some details around that. And then also just in our local discussion, Susan made point of like, I don't think we want to start something somewhere and then the next year it be somewhere else. So I want to keep that in mind, knowing that we have, Crandall Park and we have Veterans Park. There's electricity there, and at Veterans Park, there's porta potty there, correct? Or there will be, at least the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Potentially, they're usually,
Not that I'm aware.
no? Oh, well, okay. Okay, let's scratch
We
that.
don't have the money that we used to have, so I don't know what's gonna,
There is electricity and soon to be much more
Electricity, yeah. So,
we'll have good electricity.
so those are all discussions, okay.
Well,
Yes.
we always did, but it's gonna be a fun
There's
thing.
not one currently.
No, we put it in for over the 4,
Okay.
but that's.
Okay.
We have another meeting.
That's gonna, more to come.
More to come. So it looks like we have to have those local conversations of like, where do we want to be like in the long run? But I love the use of that space, and Randy's done a great job, with his building and the build out and all his plans for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Being this near
Oh,
the
gosh.
center of community certainly is an important thing for any farmers market event. That being said, from the KTP side, we would encourage you to think about the future of what community is going to mean in the town of Millinocket, and how profits might be derived for the community from this new expanded view of welcoming community, including visitors, and how they might benefit from a farmer's market, and the farmer's market might benefit from them in the future, and the differences between the locations within town and accessing that visitor population at different times. But yeah, we're here for that. Anything we can do, love to support it.
And so Barbara, you have like a list of potential like core members for this like work group around this created?
It's beginning to coalesce. Yep. Yep. So I would say within the next 2 weeks, maybe have another gathering of those people. And I'm not too concerned about the location changing because it's a small town and we can have signboards, and, I don't think that should deter us from doing something this summer. So.
Especially if it's framed as, information gathering and, not perceived as, oh, there's a farmer's market here. I think that makes it different. You can move around and gather perspectives in different spots. So,
Yep.
Good.
I would also offer that tentatively, the KTP and the chamber are getting together to do a tourism summit. The venue is almost finalized, and once it is, we'll be able to send out a save the date. That's October 25th and 26th. We'd love a solid showing from handcrafted products or anything during that time around the tourism summit. There's going to be a lot of people from out of town there as well, of course. That's just one event to put on your board. We will be applying for handcrafted products funding, and it's definitely a space the KTP is interested in regionally and would love to help develop any of that stuff.
Fantastic. Yep.
What was the date again, Eric?
October 25th and 26th. Yeah.
And Eric, I can imagine we could have some samples from places that are down on Penobscot further down that have the larger tables and things. We could just have a sample, some cheese boards and cards and information so people can wander down 2 blocks down the street if they're interested, so we don't have to have all the products available right there, so.
Yeah, and if we're at the plaza, that's certainly a vision that we have is kind of a downtown map. So it's really easy for you guys to kind of point people in that direction if you wanted.
Right. In that relation, Randy had mentioned a kind of little kiosk, like a little 3-sided kiosk with posters and information about what's going on in the town. Is that planned yet for?
Yeah, so there's several informational boards planned for in there, one including for the byway, one for recreation hub, where's trails and how many steps do I have to take to walk down to Crandall Park, things like that. and then a downtown information hub. And there will certainly be space on the side of Randy's building or somewhere in the plaza or just around Randy's building in that pocket park for public postings around events and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing too, I didn't address Jane's queries about grass and insurance. The grass is a concern in the long term. It is not a concern. We will not say no to a community event because we're worried about grass being trampled. Last year, the grass was brand new. So this year it's been around a year, so a little bit more durable, but we're likely going to be replacing it all anyway. And on the insurance side, we do have to have an insurance rider or something in place. That being said, if there's no mechanism for insurance, the KTP wants to support, and we could look into getting a one-day like event insurance attached onto our insurance and sharing those costs and working that out with partners however it needs to be worked out to make things happen.
Great.
And maybe that insurance, maybe if it's by this committee, maybe that's working with the town. We'll find whatever pathway to make it work.
Exciting.
And we do hope to have a public bathroom in that space, accessible, if not 24/7, then every day. That remains to be seen as more conversations, but that's definitely a central portion of the plan for the plaza.
Great.
Very good. Thank you. Moving on, I'm going to try to keep us to our 5 o'clock time frame. Sarah, do you have a quick update or do you want to take this to the next meeting
We
around?
can't take it to the next meeting, but I do have a quick update. If anyone, we're talking about respite care. Jane kind of tasked me with, like I said to her, I think it's like trying to, solve world hunger or world peace or something. It's kind of a big thing. We want to try to provide some supports for people, some respites perhaps, for people who are family caregivers of the elderly in our community or people that have a chronic illness. And it is a big problem. I mean, so I've been searching out people who do work with their care coordinator at the hospital or various partners. And I think the first step will be to form a little work group to talk about what kind of supports. I've reached out, I've looked at AARP and also for the resources in our state that point to our area are Eastern Area Agency on Aging. They're the resource that's listed. I've called 3 folks there. I'm still waiting on a call back for the final person that I got who will be our liaison. Don't need to reinvent the wheel. They have great programs. Can I attract them to Millinocket to help provide training maybe for a support group leader or, to just attract some of those programs here so that, again, if you're providing respite or not respite, but you're providing care for a loved one in their home as a family member, you may not have time, especially to go to Brewer to attend a program or even come here. And that's one of the drawbacks I see I have a great idea maybe for like a lunch and learn series this summer, maybe mid to end of July through August, perhaps getting some experts on some key topics that are of concern to people who provide this care and have needs surrounding dementia in particular. Again, will the people that need to really go to those be able to come because they don't have anyone to stay with their loved one? So I don't know, I think it would still be valuable to have them, to get the information out in the community. So I have talked with a couple of, one person from hospice in particular that could come and do a dementia 101 type training and provide some information about how soon is too soon for hospice. Also talked to the care coordinator at the hospital. She's willing to come and talk about things surrounding applying for main care or other support that you need, or when is it time to go to a nursing home, and talk about those kinds of issues. So I think people have these questions in their minds as they're caring for a loved one at home, and I think it would be important to do something here at the library to, again, support. It feels like that's what I'm ending up doing is a lot of classes. I don't know how that worked out, but anyway, in the meantime, I did get some great resources. I saw these through AARP for free, so I got a box of them sent to us. You can get this information on their website as well, but some people may not be digitally savvy to do it. So it's a list of resources nationally, and it's also record keeping volume where you could start to have a conversation with your loved one about where are your important papers, what medications do you take, who do you want as your next, your power of attorney, that kind of thing. So I think that's valuable, and I could hand those out at one of our lunch and learn sessions. So I've started that, starting to partner or look for partners. And so if anyone here is interested in perhaps being on this work group to discuss putting this together, I'd be more than happy to have your expertise or your input. And please reach out, and we'll get a meeting going in the next week or so, a couple of weeks.
Thank you. And I did talk to Sarah about that because since we've been doing this work early on,
Right.
that's been, not suggested, but named and, cried from the rooftops. We have a lot of folks that are being cared for at home. They're taking care of a spouse, another family member with dementia, and they just have no, like you just talked about respite. It's sometimes even, I think the data says that a lot of time caregivers actually pass before their loved ones with a chronic disease because it is so stressful. And so we've always, we know that there's a need for like support group, but can the person get to a support group meeting or be around other people because they're caregiving? So it's very complex. So it's something that we're looking at, trying to work on, what kind of supports do we have here locally?
Right.
Is there somebody willing to be trained to then
Right.
lead a group every so often? And because there used to be, back in the day, Robin, I know you're on the board for Katahdin Area Support Group now. Before that, they used to have an active support group, and they don't. People have aged out of that, and there hasn't been anybody to take that on. So it's just another need in our community, and we're trying to see what we have.
I know, I was talking to someone at the county level about this and just saying, I'm looking for who is the person that I should speak with. And they said, oh, don't you have some kind of like a mobilized Katahdin? Maybe that would be great if you could get someone who could give rides to the adults that need to go to your adult daycare. And I said, that'd be great if we had an adult daycare, but let's just back up about 10 blocks because we don't even have that yet.
Because that was identified way early on too. Like, how do you make that happen?
So
Jane, we do have, this is Shelley from Mobilize Katahdin. We do have a list of resources of private in-home providers that I do share with folks when they call me for resources on help, with someone, just coming in to give the caregiver a break or to stay over. So I do have a list that I do provide people as well, but they are private. They're not with an agency. So,
good to know.
That is available too.
Yeah, I talked with the care coordinator at the hospital about that, and she said, I do hear through the grapevine, Susie Q is a great one, and, Peggy Joe, but she said, I cannot, and I never recommend because they're not vetted, they're not bonded, they're not under an agency. And so I hesitate, even though they may be wonderful people and great caregivers. I just really hesitate. And she said, she made the recommendation and they just said to me, I think you got to be careful on who your, group is recommending if they're not vetted. And so I said, no, that's taken with I understand that for sure, but it's in Millinocket, having had a parent that needed 24/7 care. It is hard, and it's all word of mouth, it seems, in our area, like many areas, someone knows so-and-so that took care of somebody else, and they ask Tom, and who do you know when you go there with the ambulance, so it's a problem, but we'll work on it.
Thank you. So Diana, did you get any response? I know you kind of put an ask out there around who was interested maybe in the mental health first aid course. Did you get any responses?
I got about 3 people that are interested in doing mental health first aid, in addition to probably some of the library staff who don't have formal training in that. So I think there's probably still a little bit of room if there's anyone else, or if you know of anyone else who could benefit from a training like that. So I'll probably wait another week or so, reach out to a few more people, and then start getting that scheduled.
So how long is it? So do you have, I'm wondering, once you set the date for it in time, if you put that out there, if you'd actually like, oh, yep, I can do that, if you get more people signed up, or?
Yeah, I guess I'd have to figure that out with seats or,
So this is the one that Sweetser does?
It is.
Okay, I participated in that. That's an excellent program.
How long?
We,
How many hours?
Yeah.
Was it 6 or?
It's
Shall-
2 3-hour sessions at
Yeah.
separate dates and times.
Okay.
So it's a full class, it's full. And it's interactive, so you will learn a lot and receive a lot of information, but it is not one that you can also be doing something else on the side. It's an interactive, pay attention, participate, really, really good class.
Excellent.
Tom or Shelley, do you know what they cap it at per class? Because we may have enough for one class with the people I had in mind, and we could work on getting a second, because I understood it to be a smaller group thing.
It is a smaller group. The one I took had 8 of us, included me, on the class. So I don't know if there is a cap or a maximum that she allows, but I'm assuming it's not much more than that, maybe 8 or 10, because it is very interactive and it gives time for everyone to participate and speak.
So we may be close to the right
Close to the
group
8,
size, but if
okay.
you hear of anyone else or you're interested, let me know.
Okay. So we do have a couple more minutes. Is there a pressing issue or something that somebody wants to bring up or talk about?
Yes, Eric, are you interested in reading your comment that you had put in the chat?
Sure, yeah. So I just made the comment that we are doing the plaza, of course, but the plaza is just a piece of the larger byway, and that's 89 miles, much of that in Millinocket. So we're looking at a public health approach. This is tourism for the next generation. It's not just making tourist attractions, it's making tourist attractions for people and communities to come together. That includes a variety of different concerns around getting out into nature and many, many other things, especially around public health. One example of what we're doing in the plaza is that Breaking the Cycle is unique and awesome in that they allow families to be in their facility, but there's a lack of family kind of recreation facilities around. So we're making sure that there's a play space within the plaza, even though it's not a popular thing. And there's lots of other things we could do with that space, but we want to put public health front and center. So any ideas for the byway or the plaza specifically and how we might do that are welcome. What I'm hoping to do is be able to raise some funds in the next year to more formally seat a public health advisory committee so we can talk age-friendly, recovery and addiction, victims of trauma. We can talk physical safety, emotional safety while being out there. There's just so many topics that you guys, of course, are well aware of. So we'd love to go on that journey. Of course, capacity is limited. So any informal or formal advice, desires, thoughts that you guys have, we'd really appreciate it.
Thank you, Eric. And if anybody has suggestions, you can share them with me. You can, email Eric directly, or if you want to share with them with me, I could share them with Eric. That would be fine too. Yeah. Susan, you had your hand up?
Barbara?
Susan.
Yes.
Susan had her hand up. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he somewhat explained it. I was going to ask for a clarification because I couldn't quite get the connection with Breaking the Cycle and the plaza.
Sorry for the lack of clarity. If you get to work with me, sometimes I move a little too quickly.
Oh, sorry, Barbara, did you have something?
I just wanted to say, I really liked what Eric's saying about the idea of tourism for the future and including mental health. And in that, it's really wonderful, especially as we're coming out of the pandemic with all the mental health issues that have been exacerbated by that. But also, I just want to say how proud you should all be of the action plan, because it really has been a joint effort and it's really a working document. It can be really used for years to come, I think. So congratulations to everybody. So very proud of it.
Excited. Celeste, thank you for joining us. I know you had emailed me and you had some ideas to share, perhaps at another meeting. Should we have a specific agenda item, or you just want to keep listening in and sharing as we go?
It's kind of a bigger idea that isn't touching upon any of this here. So I'll just chat with you about it sometime, and we can bring it up if it seems appropriate. But it doesn't touch upon. It's more for coming up with creative housing for people to be able to age in place.
Hmm.
So it's it's just a bigger topic, so probably not today, but thank you.
And it is on our radar and it's on the town's radar. So if not this
In
committee.
a very big way.
Yes.
Yeah, feel free to add me to that conversation, Celeste.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. Look at that.
I know we're at 5:01. Can
Go
I
ahead.
add one more?
Yes,
little
you can.
thing?
Yes, you
Okay,
can.
so sorry, this wasn't on the agenda, just kind of coming together today, but the Gear Library and OS Outdoor Sport Institute, we're planning our summer programming. And most of it is for youth, but I did, being on this committee, I really want to thank Age Friendly, all ages. And I was thinking that we could do some other really like low barrier, simple programs such as, the all ages walk, which I think we tried to do last summer. It wasn't super popular, but it came to mind with like the AmeriCorps here, and it just could be a good easy thing to bring people together. And maybe the garden is the meeting place downtown or something like that, right on the Mishu Trail. Or another idea that came to mind was having like a birding gathering or something. Just these really simple things, or if we have one point person who can show up, it's in town, there's no transportation, no insurance, really. And then the other one that I might do just to reach the full spectrum of ages, I'm considering doing like a women's run, a trail run or something like that, just to try to get some more social infrastructure for young people, or, it could be any age, but I think it might self-select a younger group. So just a few ideas, and we're open to, if there would be interest in an older adult bike ride or something like that, we want to incorporate all ages into the programming. So those are my initial ideas. Let me know if you have thoughts.
So are you working on a schedule to be able to put out there very soon as far as like a summer program?
Yeah, and we'd like to have mostly, the same, you know what to expect every week. This is going to be a recurring thing for the summer. You can show up and participate. So yeah, probably putting that together in the next 2 or 3 weeks outwardly. So, or sharing it outwardly. So.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea, especially, people are asking for structured activities that they can count on, and show up. And especially like where the Gear Library is downtown now, and an adult bike ride, if they could get a bike there and then go on a ride, return it, just to get a chance to ride it again, like.
Yeah, just to get out and
So
have someone to do it with, not just by yourself,
So if anyone wants to do a birding one, I don't have enough expertise to do that one, but I will certainly participate.
I'm interested.
Tell me.
All I know is they're noisy right now.
Or someone's a naturalist, I don't know, so.
Oh, shoot, okay. All right, Susan, you get the last word.
Uh-oh. I was just going to say, as far as the birding, I think there would be some interest in that. And Anita Mueller or Rhonda might be willing to participate in that as a guide.
Yeah, they did a great one a couple of years ago that I went to. And so I know Anita is really busy in the summer, but maybe Rhonda would be a good choice.
Yeah, very good. So how does everybody feel about June 14th as our next meeting? That's the second Tuesday of June. For the 21st, does anybody have a strong?
I won't be in town that day, but I can.
The 21st, does the following week, the third week in June sound better?
Sounds fine.
I think the 21st, there might be something.
The library. Both are fine with you?
Don't go
I don't have
on.
my computer down.
Okay, so stay tuned. Watch your email for the exact date of our next meeting, the June 14th or the June 21st.
Just get back into town.
Yeah.
tomorrow night for that. I do.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for your time, everybody.
Okay, not
See
later
you.
in the day.
Just trails end.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we could do the 21st.